How you doing, Steve? So Dallas, they get out to a 9-0 start. Then in between the second and third quarter, they scored 19 in a row. And then in the fourth quarter, they had a 13-2 run. Feels like if this game was like 6 weeks ago, you may not have pulled it out. But through the ebbs and flows of the game, you guys still hung on to win. Where do you see kind of the growth over, I guess, those last 6 weeks?
Just the level of competition was fantastic. You know, we stuck with it through all those bad spells that you talked about. But you know, it was our defense that got us the win. I mean, holding those guys to 100 points is pretty difficult. I thought Wiggs was brilliant. You know, he just he put in so much effort just trying to make Luka work. And Luka was amazing, as he always is. But you know, that effort really set a tone. And I liked the stretch at the end of the third. I thought Chris Paul came in and really changed the game for us with that flurry at the end of the third, and that gave us the lead going into the fourth, and that was an important stretch.
Steve, more on Wiggins. Did you sense that from the beginning, that there was energy there, that there was force there? And do you think his offense kind of fed off his defense on Dawson?
Yeah, I mean, Wiggs has been playing really well, you know, really good two-way basketball now for a while. He had an off night in San Antonio the other night, but overall, you know, he's been aggressive offensively. He's getting downhill, and he's defending at a high level. I just think he's in a really good rhythm. He's feeling good, you know, physically, and playing at a high level. He was definitely, you know, connecting the game tonight, you know, in terms of the defense on Doncic and just overall energy, leading to some really good offensive possessions as well.
It's been kind of like all defense for you guys during this 5-game win streak. How believable is this stretch, and what about it, you know, makes you feel like it's sustainable?
Well, you know, this team obviously is playing at a really high level. They were probably the hottest team in the league coming into tonight. They made a really difficult trip, by the way, and obviously with the schedule shift, you know, they were in Sacramento for about 4 days and then flew to Houston and turned right around. And of course, now we're about to do the same thing. But for them, it's a pretty rough trip, and I appreciate not that we had any choice, but the fact that, you know, everybody, you know, shifted the schedule around to make this work. You know, that's meaningful. But I just think that you know, that's a great team, regardless of fatigue and the flight and all that. They're still really hard to guard, and we held them to 100 points. So to me, that's a good sign that what we did on the road was not flukish.
Staying on the defensive end, what did you think of Draymond's defense tonight, specifically that block on Gafford, and what did that do for you guys down the stretch?
Yeah, that was probably the key defensive play of the game. It was just a massive play. I thought he was going to go up to try to foul him, and he just had the right angle for the block, and that was a huge play. And Draymond was brilliant defensively, as he has been, you know, for a while now, and that's he's one of the reasons we've been able to turn the season around.
You talked about Chris Paul's flurry in the third to bring you guys up in the fourth. Can you talk about what he's done throughout the season in terms of leadership and his skills?
Yeah, Chris is amazing. I mean, for him, you know, he never came off the bench once in his entire career until this year. So he set a tone with our team of unselfishness and commitment to the group. And you know, he started some games early and then came off the bench again. And you know, he's sort of, his role has shifted a little bit, but every single day he's in there working. He's such a great mentor for the younger guys, and he's the guy who kind of calms things down when he gets on the floor. And tonight we needed that, especially because we were pretty wild offensively. It was not a great effort for us on the offensive end, but you know, Chris's play was really good, and it helped us kind of settle things down.
Beyond Chris, how much did the bench sort of change things? I mean, Podziemski is plus 17, and Payton seemed like he had a big impact. There was a stretch there for a quarter where really the bench played better than the starters did.
Yeah, Moses had a great game. You know, BP. I thought Loon played important minutes for us, so it did feel like the the bench group kind of changed the game for us tonight.
Steve, you guys have leaned on Steph and Clay for your offensive punch for so long. Over the course of this year, you can see that that's changed, obviously. And how important is it that, you know, other guys step in with double-digit scoring game, like Moses off the bench, like Wiggs tonight? I mean, how important is that formula for you guys to try and make a run in the postseason?
Yeah, we need that. You know, and this season has been, I think, about that transition. You know, the younger guys playing more and producing more, and the older guys, you know, handing over some of the responsibilities. And I think we found a pretty good mix. You know, it's we're finding a groove at the right time. A lot of guys are playing well, and we need everybody because every night feels a little different with this team.
Steve, what happened with the double timeout there? Was that just you wanted extra time, or?
No, because we inbounded the ball and took the and didn't take the timeout before we inbounded. We used the second one to advance the ball. So I didn't want to get a turnover in the backcourt underneath our own basket or an 8-second violation because 2 seconds had already come off the floor, off the clock. And so in order to advance it, you have to take another timeout.
And I think I've asked you this before, some other games, but almost a playoff feel. Do you want your players to feel like this is like a mini playoff? Like you gotta.
Yeah, I mean, these games are good for us because, you know, we're right on the edge and we have to win almost every game and forces us to be sharp.
Part of Chris Paul's big night you're talking about was he just was hitting his jumper. How useful can that be, and how much more maybe do you want him to at times look for that mid-range that he made a career out of?
He's had a great shooting season. After the first month or so, he didn't shoot the ball very well, but over the last few months, he's really shot the ball well. We need the scoring. You know, he comes in and he generates shots for others, but also for himself, and it's really been a great dynamic to add to our team. You know, it's always been an issue when Steph comes off the floor over the last decade, but Chris, to me, gives us probably the best ability over the last decade with that second group just to come in and take over a game, and he's done that numerous times this year.
Steve, you've been pretty open about checking the standings every day. I mean, how in that context, how crucial is tonight? You know, Houston loses, so it pushes you up 3 on them, and you're still only 1 back of the Lakers in the loss column. So how does that matter to you?
Yeah, that's meaningful, and we've got a tough trip now to Houston and Dallas, so it's helpful, but just gotta keep going.
Now, as a person who's coached a dynamic backcourt with Steph and Clay, how do you assess the backcourt of Luka and Kyrie, especially in a game like tonight?
Not bad. Those guys are amazing. They're both playing at a really high level, and that's why Dallas is where they are right now. They're having a great season.
Coach, you guys in here